Vanessa, everything okay?
There's something wrong with this place.
What do you mean?
Out in the forest.
Vanessa.
I kept walking around. It's like I was in some kind of loop.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Yay.
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay, Kira?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I put headphones on, so hopefully it sounds a little crisper. But yes, hi, everyone.
Mika, does crisper a word? It sounds more crisp.
Oh, crisp.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay, so we are kicking it off with a new segment, you guys. It's going to be called it is called On Your Radar. Not seeing too many people in the chat as of yet, but anyway, you guys, I think it'll be a good opportunity to kind of start off and see where we go.
Yeah, we wanted to kind of talk about what On Your Radar is.
Exactly.
So how would you describe it, Kira?
Okay, so this is going to be a weekly segment every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern Time. What is that Central Time? We'll figure it out. 7:30 our time, you guys, is going to be every single Wednesday. And On Your Radar is basically where we will highlight a film or TV series that we would say is worthy of a watch and should be on your radar.
Yeah, that sums it up. And I hope people can give us some recommendations too of films that they have on their radar, and maybe we can kind of look them up or check them out.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's also TV shows too. Yes, please.
Oh yes, because we love ITV. So
yeah, we're trying to incorporate both you guys in this segment. So we want to be able to shine light equally, in equal measure, if you will.
Yes. So our first episode, we decided to talk about the 2024 Sci-fi Thriller Parallel.
Oh, yes.
And the reason we chose this is because a lot of people, I haven't heard anyone talk about this film at all.
Nope. I feel like it's a film that kind of fell under people's radar.
Oh yeah, it did because every time I bring it up or I say the name of the movie, no one has heard of it. And it did release early this year. I believe it was in February it released. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like you said, it went under the radar. This was one we were anticipating, so we knew it was coming up and we're really excited about it.
Yeah, anticipated. We were looking forward to this film. And I'm hoping that it becomes a bit of a sleeper hit. So for the most part, it fell under the radar. But the more people catch up with it, I'm hoping that it becomes like one of those sleeper hits.
Oh yes, I think it will be. And maybe like this stream will put it in some people's ears. We do have KB. So KB said, hi KB. He says he's watching. Oh yeah, he's doing all sci-fi and fantasy this month.
Oh, I love that, KB. Oh, yes. See, I'm sure we'll get some recommendations from you just from that. Yay, love it.
So this is one, KB, I would say to throw on your list.
Oh, have to, KB.
Yeah, because I would love to hear your thoughts, KB, on what you think about this one.
For sure. Definitely. Okay, so I guess we can jump right in.
Mm-hmm. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about the cast. So who's starring in Parallel? So first up, our main character is Vanessa, which is played by Danielle Deadwyler. And she also executive produces the film. People may know her from Harriet. I believe she played, and then The Harder They Fell. So those are some movies she's played in that people might be familiar with her with. But she plays the main character, Vanessa, and she's also an executive producer on the movie.
Oh, yes. Love to see it. And it did an exceptional job. Stellar performance. I'm hoping to see many more things, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Second up, we have one half of the brothers because we have a brother duo, which I thought was so awesome for this movie. So we have Aldous Hodge. Yes. And if you know Aldous Hodge, he's played in the TV shows Leverage.
Yep.
And also some films, Black Adam. But he's also a writer of Parallel. So one half of the writer duo on this one.
Love to see it.
Yes. And he plays Alex, which is the husband to Vanessa's character.
Yes.
Yes. So really, really great in this. And then our last person is the
brothers in real life, you guys.
Yeah, brothers in real life. Edwin Hodge. And he plays Martell. So they're brothers in real life and brothers on the movie.
Yep. Brothers in the film, yes.
And he's also a writer of the film as well. And I think people might know Edwin Hodge from the Purge movies.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so it was really great seeing him in this film.
Love to see it. Oh yes. And can I say, let me just kind of remove that banner. This is the cast, you guys. This is it. These are the only 3 faces you see through the entirety of the film. Let's
Mhm.
put that out there. And
Mhm.
so that speaks volumes with regards to what they're able to accomplish with just them holding down the fort in the entirety of the film. This is the entire cast.
Yes, yes, and then, oh, thank you for joining, King Mickey TV, and this is one thing I really enjoyed too. She said, "I was very happy to see Black folks in sci-fi, but this movie."
Yes.
Okay, but this movie was a little underwhelming for me. Okay, okay, okay.
Oh, and I want
Yeah.
I'm always open to people's like feedback, input.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
wonder what you would like to have seen more. Like how would you want them to have like
Yeah, Nikki, yeah, let us know what
let
you
us
would have
know.
liked to see a little bit more of, but yes, kudos to I love the, all Black cast. That was great because I always say I love to see more of us in sci-fi.
Oh yeah, put us across the spectrum, please. Oh, let's go. Hey Tyrone.
Oh, yes, Tyrone.
My God, thank you guys. We appreciate you in the comments.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's describe the synopsis. Let's kick it off and let people know what Parallel is all about.
Okay, what would you give it a little.
Okay, so I would describe this film, and you guys, we don't want to do any spoilers, so we're gonna
Mhm.
do our best to give you a little taste.
A little taste.
And again, I think we can provide a description that gives you enough of the film without telling you the outcome and the overall ending. So we're not going to spoil it for you; it'll be
Mhm,
spoiler free. But what I would say right off the bat is this film it follows a couple dealing with loss, dealing with trauma due to a significant loss, and then grief. That's the overall themes of this film to me. And we meet our couple. They take a trip to the family home in the
yes, the
woods.
family cabin in the
Yeah,
woods.
family cabin in the woods. And come on, I love to see my Black couple enjoying nature in the woods in a cabin. How about that? A beautiful cabin, I might add.
Yes, yes, and our couple, as we said, Vanessa and Alex.
Yes, it's almost like they decided to take this time away in nature just to try to rectify, repair the marriage. That's a better
Mhm,
word for it.
mhm,
Repair their marriage, see if they can come back fully together as a unit despite the loss they've experienced.
mhm.
Also, a part of this weekend is the brother, Vanessa's brother-in-law. And then you kind of learn how he is involved and enmeshed in their dynamics. Um, what would you say? How would you add to that?
Yeah, I would agree. So it really, like you said, the main theme in this film is grief, and how this family is navigating this significant loss, and how they kind of rebuild and repair their relationship, and how they move on from that. And I love, like I said, this kind of read to me like a one room play, because it was very minimalistic with the setting. So we're just in this cabin, we just have 3 characters, that's it, in the whole film, and the setting pretty much is the forest and the home. It doesn't really deviate. And I really, really love that. And it's really all about kind of how you navigate grief and how you kind of deal with that. And I like how the title kind of plays in that, in terms of parallel lives. If you could do things differently, especially with how we deal with things like grief, would you, or how we kind of navigate that?
Oh, yes. On the top of that, though, what kind of brings in that sci-fi elements is you realize that in the midst of where this cabin is in the forest, there are doorways or gateways into parallel universes. And
Yes,
so
it's
you
like I
have
love
our
how they do the
Oh,
multiverse in
yes,
this.
we have our characters transversing through these parallel, alternate realities, and the most interesting thing about the film is in each alternate reality, there is a different version of themselves. Does that make sense? I hope I'm explaining
Yes,
it
yes,
right.
yes, yes. Like yeah, Kira. You live in parallel lives. So as you coexisting in one life, there's a parallel version of you who's also coexisting.
A different life.
Mhm.
And then what I love about this film is almost like butterfly effect, but slightly different in the sense of every parallel universe you enter, even though it's a different version of you, there are things that are slightly off about what that version of you is experiencing. I feel like that's the best way I could
No,
describe it.
no, that explains it. That perfectly explains it. And we find, and that's the thing with Vanessa, as she's navigating this forest, she goes out for a walk to kind of like debrief, to kind of clear her head or get away from Alex. She finds herself kind of entering a different loop and is really discovering how do I get back? You know what I mean? Let me
Oh
see.
yeah.
We have some comments. So Tyrone said the acting ability in this one had to be crisp.
Oh,
Oh
100%.
yeah. I mean
No room for failure there.
you only have 3 characters.
And
But
they
then
relied heavily on one another.
mhm. And then Nikki says some of the dialogue felt unnatural. I found the lead character really unlikable. I mean, yeah, I can see. I kind of understood though, because what in terms of what she was dealing with, but it was hard to kind of sometimes relate to her, especially Alex's character, because you were really trying to reach her. And I hated convenient wrapped up with the bow ending. Oh, we're gonna talk about. We're
Yeah,
not gonna
we're
say
gonna
what
talk
the
about that
ending.
ending.
We're not gonna say what the ending was, but I kind of felt that it kind of was left up to interpretation.
Yeah, I think we can kind of talk a little bit about our thoughts on the ending without giving too much away.
Mhm,
I do want to kind of hit on like her being an unlikable character.
mhm,
I think realistically, what might have made her unlikable, at least to me, if I was taking that perspective, is that we find Alex trying to move through the grief. Like it's not that he didn't experience the same loss, but you
mhm,
saw him actually trying and putting in effort to kind of move on despite that significant
mhm,
loss.
mhm.
And you're finding Vanessa really putting up all these walls, these barriers, and you understand why she's doing that.
Yeah,
But
because I think
she's
she
not giving
blamed
him any
herself a little
room
bit.
to actually. She's not giving him any grace, and something like
Mhm,
I can kind of hold how she's comes off at least to other people about like, oh gosh, let him in, like talk to
mhm,
him. He's
mhm,
trying, give him a
mhm,
chance, like connect.
mhm. But I can also understand too because a part of her grief is that she blames herself for the situation that occurred. So when you're kind of owning something like that, I think it is kind of hard to accept that grace. You know what I mean? Especially when you think you might be the catalyst for why this has occurred.
Oh no, I completely understand that.
Let me
Yeah,
see. Nikki said precisely she wasn't the only one who lost a son, so the
that was my
treatment of the
point. Yeah.
husband made her unlikable.
That's my point
Mhm,
exactly, Nikki. So I could see how the takeaway from some viewers might say she's unlikable in the way, not necessarily how the way she's handling it, but more or less how she's interacting with her husband and then even her brother-in-law. Um,
mhm,
so I think that piece is very hard in terms of
mhm,
like, oh wow, these people are really trying.
mhm.
And there's just this wall up.
Yeah. But again, people grieve differently, and we know
Oh,
something like this, like the loss of a son, this can end some marriages.
it doesn't
You might
marriages.
not be able to repair it. So I can kind of see both sides because that's a tough one to kind of deal with. But like we said, Alex is a great character in terms of he's trying to kind of reach where he is. But to go,
Yeah.
yeah, but to go into a little bit more of that parallel universe, what I found kind of really interesting about it is like where you could end up, you know what I mean? It was kinda like once you entered it, it was really hard to kinda get back to your previous life, and to me, I was left thinking, and I think some of the characters, mentioned that too, do I wanna go back, to that previous life if you had an opportunity? What are your thoughts around that?
Well, I kind of looked at it as well. At first, let's kind of kick it off by saying that the character initially, when she left to take respite in the forest to kind of get
Mhm.
away and clear her head, there was no inklings that there was something amiss within the
Oh, yes.
forest. And I
Yes.
think one thing that kind of stands out is that the sons are kind of talking about a little bit of their father, who it was, we learned it was his cabin, and he kind of went a little bit mad, and you'll kind of figure out perhaps maybe it had something to do with these parallel universes.
Yep.
But the interesting thing about them traversing through the parallels is that they are encountering different versions of themselves. So when they make that connection, that's to me is the freaky piece of it, because they're still married, or there's some type of like the wife is still the wife, the husband is still the husband, the brother is still the brother. Those roles don't change, but the way certain actions that occur within those parallels are different from each one. So for example, if I had a dog in the parallel A, I have a cat in parallel B. I'm just kind of
Oh yeah,
hypothetically playing how it looks, like slight
yeah.
variations of a similar situation.
Well, like the accident, it was maybe in world A, it was caused by this, and world B, it was caused by this. You know what I mean?
And then maybe in one world, the accident was like completely different in terms of like how it transpired.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I really thought this was really unique. I really loved it because it's not a huge blockbuster movie that's dealing with multiverses. They do such a great job, I think, with a low budget. Like I said, with just three characters, a minimalistic setting. Like I said, I thought the cinematography was beautiful, like the forest setting. They do really, really well with what they're working with. To me, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, I mean you're not gonna see like high speed chases, explosions. Like it has none of that, but it's still enough drama and action, and it has that thriller. It's a thriller. It's suspenseful at times.
Mhm.
This tension,
Mhm.
and then the
Yeah.
sci-fi element is quite clever in terms of the traversing the parallels. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's what I said. It's like I said, it starts off slow. It's a lot of dialogue, but it really picks up the pace. And I was kind of on the edge of my seat of where it was going to go.
And I think it needs to start off slow, you guys, to kind of provide character analysis for you to hold fully where we meet our characters, and then to understand the setting, of course,
Hmm.
and then what
Hmm.
happens next.
Hmm. Okay. And Nikki said, I found it to be pretty typical parallel universe story, nothing new or unique. Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we should know this is actually kind of a
Oh,
loose
it's actually
adaptation
based
of.
on, yeah, yeah. It's actually in Nikki, I would say to check that one out too, see how they compare. But I know um that both Aldous and Edwin Hodge, this is based off of the Chinese movie Parallel Forest. They kind of took from that. So I would check out that one too to see how they compare, what you think about it.
Yeah, there's some similarities, but again, all stark differences for sure.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, but that's what I love. I love like always hearing different opinions because the movie, like we said, is not, movies, some people are gonna like them, some people aren't. And that's great. I love hearing differences of opinions.
Oh, yeah, and
Um,
it's fair to say there's also room for people who like it, but weren't completely satisfied
mhm,
or thought
mhm,
it could be,
mhm,
better in certain aspects.
mhm, mhm. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the theme of grief and the symbolism. So I took it kind of to me, I said the forest to me was our desires and our attempts to escape and reset our present reality. So sometimes we're in bad situations dealing with grief, depression, anger, past grievances. We can tend to make ourselves go into circles or kind of try to kind of get away from things. I kind of play with that a little bit in terms of the forest and maybe symbolism with grief. I don't know what you thought about that.
Oh yeah, I think the environment was his own character. So in terms of the symbolism, I love the fact that they were in one of the most isolated places one can
Mhm,
find themselves.
mhm,
So when you are amongst nature, you are literally alone with yourself and your thoughts,
mhm,
honestly. For
mhm,
some people who are experiencing grief or loss, that can be tranquil, that could be soothing, provide a sense of solace, which I can understand. For others, it could be detrimental in the sense of I'm only sitting with myself and I'm being consumed by my thoughts. But
mhm,
I do think that in terms of overall symbolism, there's pros and cons into how you would view the forest. But it was
mhm,
beautiful nonetheless. I think that most people can take stark takeaway. Their takeaway would be that the forest setting in terms of nature universally always is beautiful.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, and a retreat, like you said, a way to kinda gain some peace. We find in this movie, it kinda does the opposite in terms of, um, kinda entering a little bit of a nightmare because you kinda go there for an escape,
And you
but then
can escape.
and then you can't escape.
Oh yeah, and what I will say about the forest is how you enter these parallels where it was like there's no she ended up walking in like almost in a maze, so circles
Mhm,
if you will, and every time she found herself back at where she thought was home, it
mhm,
was a different parallel dimension.
mhm.
And so just imagine running into a version of yourself and seeing almost a doppelganger if you will.
Ooh, like us.
Oh, yes. And then trying to understand what is first of all, that's frightening. Like, that is the scariest thing that
Mhm,
could ever happen, in my opinion. And then trying to figure out what's going on, and then trying to find your way back home. And then the realization that that might not ever happen.
I know that was the scary thing, is because like you could be lost forever. So like even though kind of where you're escaping from was really really tough, and you were really dealing with some significant stuff, kind of like, oh my god, I may not be able to get back there. You know what I mean? To kind of that was a scary thing to me, maybe not finding your way back.
Oh yes, and we do meet, without giving too much away, we do meet a version of the character that has been aimlessly roaming through these parallel worlds.
Looking for his version.
Trying to find his version of Vanessa. Do you know what I mean? So it proves that, oh my gosh, it could be days, weeks, months, years, potentially trying to figure your way back home.
And then kind of getting so frustrated that do you just kind of say, let me just stay in this parallel universe? Or
Well, think about that, because in the film, and this is where maybe Nikki might have some thoughts about this. This is where I'm thinking in terms of like the ending, if you will. So, for example, this movie poses a question of, you know what the reality is you're living with in the life you lead. So in my current life, if I'm experiencing ups and downs, I know what that looks like. And for the most part, we want to escape things that are negative, that make us feel bad, especially if it's really emotionally taxing. Now, if I had the opportunity to leave my current world to go to a parallel universe, one, would I want to do that? For me, absolutely not.
I think it probably depends on me what I'm doing in that parallel universe.
See, but why I would say no is because for the most part, you never know what that parallel universe is going to look like historically. I mean, movies teach us that until you're there. And so I would basically say, you know what, as uncomfortable as things are for me right now, I'm going to try to navigate my way through that. I think in the parallel, this film, it's scary because when she realizes she can't physically return or get back home, the reality sets in that I could be searching aimlessly, continuously, indefinitely. And then I could also end up in a worse parallel universe than the one I left, or I will be out of place in the parallel universe I enter because there's already versions of me there.
Yeah, and let me find, because I did some notes. I did a note on that, which I thought, like, where I was asking some questions. Let me see. I wanted to get your thoughts on that, because that just go right to kind of what you were saying here.
Oh yeah, and think about it. There was one version. She meets a version of her husband, and he basically, I mean, you can question his motives, but you will ultimately be presented with the choice. Do you continuously roam around this forest aimlessly, hoping to find where you should be? Or do you say, you know what, this is as good as it's going to get. I found a universe that I'm happy in, and I'm going to
You just want to take it.
Take it. And I deserve to take it. Do you?
But that can also go back to kind of when you're not addressing your problems. Again, that's to me like that symbolism. When you're not addressing your problems, it creates kind of more chaos, and you kind of running in circles to try to kind of figure out what's the right path or where do I go.
Oh yeah, and we do that anyway. In general, we have to do that. I think what makes this scary in this movie is they're forced to run in circles because they have to try to find their way back home. So whether they like it or not, they're in this parallel universe, and they have no choice but to figure out, what are you doing?
Oh, we have some comments. So Nikki said, yep, that's the beauty of movies. We can all watch the exact same thing and walk away with completely different experiences. Exactly, yes, so true. Yeah. And I love that. That's what I love. Paul said, hello. Hi, Paul. Oh, and then we got Corey. Hi, Corey.
Always good to see Corey.
Yeah. I saw you were attacking your lawn. Hopefully it didn't take as many hours as you thought, Corey.
Oh, jeez. Love it, getting it done.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would probably just have to go to another parallel universe, because I don't think I can keep searching for my right one. You know what I mean?
Well, and then this brings me into question with thoughts on the ending without giving the ending away. So ultimately, the way I looked at the ending is it's kind of predictable in the sense of, what she's searching for. She's trying, she's lost the son. She's searching potentially for the possibility of a parallel universe where he
has a son. Yeah.
Now, so if you will, let's say there's a parallel universe where he exists. but you know that's not the version of the world you should be in. There's another you there. The ending was left in a way where we don't know what she decides to do. So I assume that the love she has for her child might make her be completely act in a way that she would have never considered herself to act, to have this life that she lost. Or she might say, I'm not supposed to be here. This is not the world that I am living in. I don't deserve to be here. And the other version of me does.
Yeah, and I thought, because we know Alex's character says, because she's searching for her son, Alex's character says in each parallel universe that he's been in, that version, he's passed away. If he's alive in another parallel universe, does that mean that eventually he will pass away? You know what I mean? Can you play with fate, really? You know what I mean? So if she's choosing to stay in a parallel universe, does that kind of play with fate a little bit?
Oh, that's interesting. I kind of thought about it as prior to them knowing that the cabin, the forest had this science
thing
going on. I kind of said that the film said that, we live in a world where there are alternate realities and that we are never supposed to cross them. But because they crossed them, they did, but they should have never had the opportunity to. So it's one of those things where even if you wanted to stay there, you don't have the right to, in my opinion. So for me, it would be, even though if I have to continuously search until I get back to where I belong. I mean, a lot of people don't choose the path. I couldn't see myself purposely staying in a place where the two versions of me could not coexist together.
Yeah, I'd be like, I gotta take this world.
I don't know. That's an interesting question.
Yeah, because I don't think I can do the endless searching to get back to my world, especially when my world wasn't so peachy keen. My world, it was really depressing where I was. You know what I mean?
Well, do you remember there was one scene in this film where Alex, the husband's character, like he goes through, like we find a version of him actually like going through these parallel universes too, and he sees himself, a version of Vanessa, a version of himself, a version of Vanessa and his brother in one world, and they're out in the field. They seem very happy, carefree. It's almost like, okay, they're in the world they belong in, and why would you feel entitled to disrupt that? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I morally, it's like that's another question in this film. Morally, what is right? You know what I mean? What would you choose? And I think again that goes back to that symbolism. Realistically, we should be kind of processing our grief. We should really be dealing with the problems that are coexisting now in the moment and not trying to run away from them. Because again, when we do that, it causes this chaos, this loop, this parallel of emotions. That's kind of what I took away from it.
And basically, if she never left the house to go into the woods, she wouldn't be in the situation to begin with. I mean, that's kind of when you think about it. Like, if she could have stayed and be in front of the campfire with the husband, brother-in-law, like, happy days, let's talk this through. I would have never actually left the safe space that I was in. But again, we're not comfortable in those safe spaces. And
we always know, like in movies, going to cabin in woods, it never really ends well.
Can I say, this is my version, you guys, when you watch Parallel, this is my version of a cabin in the woods. So so when you see this movie, you'll see how beautiful this cabin is. This is my version of, Shakira, do you want to go camping? I have a cabin in the woods. Oh yeah,
me and you are kind of rustic chic, like
rustic chic. I need those nice amenities.
Nice amenities
with the forest as my background.
Oh, yes. And we would be safe because it's like we don't even go into nature.
No, we can admire nature from afar. You know what I mean?
The bugs.
Yes, campfire.
Yeah,
a well lit path trail, marked nicely.
Yeah, it's like the horror fans in us. We don't really tackle the woods.
We don't deviate.
Yeah. Oh, there goes Tiana. Hi, Tiana. Hi. Yeah, so I think we can kind of summarize it, because part of what we want to do with On Your Radar, you guys, is we don't want it to be a long segment. We want to really briefly give you a synopsis of a film, really kind of point out why you should be seeing it. Hopefully you guys can give us some recommendations, and our goal is, like we said, to probably do it every Wednesday, maybe for about half an hour or so, and really just kind of highlight a film that we think should be on your watch list. And we would love to hear, like I said, if you have some films that we should have on our radar, that would be great as well.
Yep, and I just want to emphasize film and TV series.
Oh yes, because we do love our TV, so it'll fluctuate.
Yeah, we'll go back and forth.
I think next week though we do have another film.
Oh yeah, do you want to share what it is? We can.
Oh yes. You guys will be doing highlighting the film His House on Netflix. Oh, love that one. And again, that's another one I don't hear a lot of people talking about. That's a horror film, but so good. So we're gonna really kind of just talk about that one and why we feel it should kind of be on your radar.
Oh yes, and it's kind of like a work in progress, so we're hoping to expand on this segment. But at least you'll see us weekly on Wednesdays. We're going to aim to do that.
I know we're gonna work on trying to be consistent.
All right, yeah.
Okay, so let's try to summarize this one again, just really briefly.
I want to show a clip that kind of is like I did do one clip in terms of like when she's encountering a version of Alex.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think this is the clip where she's you don't know which version you're encountering of your husband and kind of trying to figure out like some
clues. The same one you previously encountered. So they came up with like a funny way to determine that we are the same versions we just left.
Oh yeah, because that's crazy. Because like I said, you always running into new versions of yourself in this one.
Okay, so I'll show that really quickly. Okay, I'll do it now.
Alex? Alex? Room 1111. Room 1111.
Bad 8.
She's like, "Oh, you know, said you were."
I know, right? We kept saying that after the movie Room. Okay, KB said, so where can you watch Parallel? So I did look it up. I think Tubi right now has it for free. Look at Tubi.
Look at Tubi. Oh, yes. Oh, and KB, if you watch it, please share your thoughts. Let us know what you think. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh, yes. And like I said, this is one that it was in the theater for a limited run. It kind of went straight out of the theater. Then was on VOD for a while, but kind of like we said, fell off the radar. But we discovered it and really enjoyed it. So like I said, you can find it on Tubi. Just some points to kind of reiterate. Oh, I think we got another vote. Will do.
No,
yeah, KB. Okay, so just some points. It's a combination of sci-fi, thriller, some horror elements, right?
Agreed.
Minimalistic setting, but they do a lot with it. Like I said, to me, it reads kind of like in a one-room play, kind of in the forest setting, and then a cabin. It really doesn't deviate.
Cabin in the woods. You in the woods. This whole movie. Yes.
It really doesn't deviate in terms of the setting.
It doesn't deviate. You're in the woods the entirety of this film.
Yeah, and then they did a great job, like I said, with the budget that they had. To me, I love that it only focuses on 3 characters.
Diversity. We love diversity.
I love seeing, like I said, black people in sci-fi. That was good.
Can I say, this is what I mean when I say I want to see films that reflect full body of the depth of what we are capable of showing. Does that make sense? It's like,
yeah, and we like you said, we like sci-fi too, so it was great to see it. You know what I mean?
Give us a beautiful black couple, black family, and a beautiful cabin in the woods.
I'm here for it. And I just love what they do with the multiverse. So this is a film where, like I said, it's not huge blockbuster. It's a kind of little bit dialogue heavy in the beginning, but it does pick up. But for multiverse, to me, I thought it was a very good, unique story.
Yep, agreed. Yep.
Yeah. So I hopefully that gets it on your radar.
Yes, and if you guys happen to take a look at it, please share with us. Let us know what your thoughts are. And also, to piggyback on what Mika said, please let us know if there's something you would recommend that we watch and then talk about in this segment.
And also, if you get a chance to watch the film, I would love to know what you would choose in the end, because as we know, at the end of this movie, you have a choice to make. So, what would you choose?
Yes.
All right, you guys. So we're gonna head on out. Thank you for popping in. And this has been Mika and Kira with our On Your Radar.
Guys.
Bye.